It's Christmas, and this is a Christmas that's pretty great because I got my Nintendo DS this Christmas. You can't really see me because I'm on the right side of this camera. But one of the gifts I got was, for some reason, I was excited about.
First, I got the first movie of Garfield. First movie.
Wow, that is so cool.
Garfield was created in 1978, and I was a fan of the character as a child. This is one of those things where I don't really understand why. I guess I kind of like the character, but when I was a kid, I read this crap all the time. And when I mean this crap, I mean I read the original stuff because I had this book. And my mom lied to me because Garfield, the first movie from 2004, is awful. It was called Garfield at Large, and it pinned all of his stories from 1978, I believe. And I read these all the time. I ran it from the library, and eventually I got the book itself. And I read so much the book got destroyed, so I had to get a replacement that included the second and third book. To say the least, Garfield was a character I just really was attached to. I just liked orange cats as a kid, despite the fact that I'm not really a cat person. I'm a dog person, and a bird person, and a mouse person. I just don't really like cats that much. But Garfield has some great comic strips like, Where Could My Pipe Be? Garfield! Yeah, that's the joke, say smoking a pipe, and this is something that I thought was okay, but people made fun of how bad this comic is. A lot of the Garfield comics aren't really that good. Most part, it's just a cat being lazy and likes to eat food. He doesn't like Mondays by the fact that he doesn't work because he's a cat. Also, original Garfield was quite the chunker. I guess it makes sense. He does eat a grotesque amount of food. For some reason, later he would get slimmed down, and even without the Garfield they always presented in merchandise, I always preferred this version when it was fat, because that's the one I read about mostly. I don't know, something about it has more charm to it. It's an actual fat-ass cat that's smoking his owner's pipe for some reason. There's also this random guy that no one talks about. Well, some people talk about. He was introduced in the very beginning of Garfield, very early on, and he used to just live with John for some reason, and he had a dog named Odie, yeah. And then eventually this character just disappeared, and then John just owns Odie now. The theory that fans have is hilarious about this character. That John stole his dog and has him in the basement strapped up. I don't know why it's funny as crap to me, because as a kid I read like, yeah, where did this happen to this character? He was for years he was in a couple of Garfield strips. He is the owner of Odie, and then all of a sudden he's just completely gone and never returns. People are like, he must be dead in the basement or something. I don't know why that cracks me up, but it just does. Also, Garfield's one of those characters that was mass marketed to hell, and there's some weird people who like to collect a bunch of Garfield stuff, and there seems like a kind of a cult around collecting Garfield, like this weird website called Loves Garfield. And the reason why there's so much Garfield stuff is that his Garfield's creator, Jim Davis, is a giant sellout. So of course he sold movie rights to make Garfield a movie, and even after that, tried to make his own cinematic universe that failed miserably. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Garfield the movie. And despite the fact there are Garfield comic strips being made today, Jim Davis doesn't even make them. His name's all over them, but he has a bunch of people do it for him. He's a lazy fuck. he's basically the opposite of the Calvin and Hobbes guy who doesn't merchandise the characters at all, and only he was allowed to make the comics, or even the Peanuts person. I don't know, I'm really bad at names. Jim Davis is a giant sellout. And Garfield phones are flooding the Paris' Frank's beaches for some reason. There's a bunch of Garfield phones keep washing up. There's so much weird crap around this character, but honestly, let's just talk about the movie. I'm done talking about all this behind-the-scene crap. Garfield's just a really funny character to talk about. Like, why is there phones washing up on the beaches of France? Why? Before we can even get into this monstrosity movie, there is a funny as hell behind-the-scene production story that most people know, but I got a full quote to go along with it. So, most people know that Bill Murray was cast to voice Garfield, which makes sense. That's actually a pretty good casting. How did they get him? Well, here's how. Here's the exact quote from him. I thought it would be kind of fun, because doing a voice is challenging, and I'd never done that. Plus, I looked at the script and it said so on and so, and Joel Cohen. And I thought, Christ, well, I love the Coens. They're funny. So I sort of read a few pages and thought, yeah, I'd like to do that. They went off and shot the movie, and I forgot all about it. Finally went out to LA to record my lines, and usually when you're looping a movie, it takes 2 days. That's a lot. I don't know if I should tell this story because it's kind of mean. What the hell? It's interesting. So I worked all day and kept going, that's the line? Well, I can't say that. And you sit there and go, what can I say that will make this funny? And make it make sense? And I worked, I was exhausted, soaked with sweat, and the lines got worse and worse. And I said, okay, you better show me the rest of this movie so we can see what we're dealing with. So I sat down and watched the whole thing, and I kept saying, who the hell cut this thing? Who did this? What the fuck was Cohen thinking? And then they explained it to me. It wasn't that written by that Joel Cohen. It was written by Joe Cohen. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Basically, one is spelled Coen and one is spelled Cohen. and not only that, it turned out the movie came with a sequel. So if it did well, he was forced to do the sequel as well under contract. He saw the movie thinking someone else did it, who doesn't even do like movies like Garfield. The Coen brothers, from what I understand, do kind of dark, rated R type edgy comedy movies rather than Garfield. And he just saw the name and thought, oh, I like them. I'm gonna do the movie. And he said, who the fuck wrote this shit? It's so funny because the script is as bad as he says. So Garfield, the movie, released 2004 on a budget 50,000 million. It 50,000 to 50 million, meant to say. It made 200 million, so it ended up getting a sequel. And it's about Garfield, who is an orange cat who hates Mondays. And that's about it. The first thing you'll notice when watching this movie is that the CGI is awful. The budget isn't that high, so it's not surprising, especially for 2004, but Garfield looks like absolute shit. He looks like someone chewed up an orange Cheeto and spit it out, basically. And the worst part about him is that he doesn't even look like he's in the environment he's supposed to be in. They never mix it well with live action. It looks awful all the time. And just the design is shit. At least he's like fat, unlike his actual new version of him, which makes him look skinny. But at the same time, it sucks. Not only that, but the dialogue also sucks. Like, here he's like, hey, get up, John, or feed me, motherfucker. Also, unlike his comic strip counterpart, Garfield does a lot of acrobatics and stuff, like here, where he jumps a mile away. Like, what was that shot? Also, can you tell that Garfield's in this shot, or is he not really there? I can't tell. The CGI looks so good.
Cannonball!
And he has to eat cat food, but that's kind of gross. So Garfield swaps out the cat food with John's cat food or something like that. I don't really know. Yeah, it's very funny. Also, unlike his comic strip counterpart, Garfield likes to go for strolls and does exercises, I guess, or walks around and talks to regular cats. And yeah, that sure looks realistic. The screen tearing there, because sometimes it's hard to find good audio clips. Look at this lovely cat here. Can you guess what character this cat's supposed to be? This random Siamese cat? Yeah, it's supposed to be Normal. If you know anything about Garfield, you know that looks nothing like Normal, who's a gray kitten. This is just a regular full-size cat who has a speech impediment. I don't really get it. Also, Garfield likes milk. I don't know, that was something that we've established before, but in the comics, I don't really remember him ever drinking milk, really. He mostly sticks to eating food. So there's a bunch of stupid contraption stuff going on that's just dumb and stupid. Then Garfield drinks some semen. Kinda gross there, Garfield.
I can see my house. Got milk?
If you couldn't tell from that lovely bit of animation and dialogue, this movie was incredibly well written. One of the weird things about this movie, other than the screen tearing that happens sometimes, because the movie doesn't want to exist anymore, is the fact that every other animal other than Garfield is live action. That includes characters from the actual comic strip who had unique designs. As we already established, Normal looks nothing like the character from the comic. And this dog's live action, but Garfield's the only one that's a CGI abomination. Not even Odie, who has a very unique design, is animation. Only Garfield. It looks really weird because he looks like absolute shit. Every other character has this awful mouth animation on top of their animal they're supposed to be. The guy talks over like, yeah, I'm a dog, or the dog just stands there casually. Also, Garfield got pie. Also introduced to the villain, who is one of the worst characters in the movie. Why? Because this guy is so lame, unfunny, and uninteresting, but we spent a lot of time with this guy. This guy hates animals, even though he works with animals, and he's jealous of his brother. This character is written like it's supposed to be a comedic villain, which it makes sense. This is supposed to be a comedy after all, but they kind of play it bland and straight, so overall, it's fucking boring as shit, and it's like, make this guy hammy or something, or make him really goofy. Instead, he's like, I just don't like animals, but I work with animals, and I want a dog, even though I don't like animals and I'm allergic to them. And even though this cat's famous, I'm going to donate it to a shelter for some reason. That's a plot point that's not really that important. And And somehow getting a dog that does tricks is going to help him become a newscaster or something? It doesn't make any sense. Like, what is this? Why is we focusing on some boring villain whose plan is to be a newscaster? Yeah, that's why I want my real villain should have been Lyman, or whatever his name is, trying to get out of the basement, getting revenge on John for locking him in there for that very long time. That would have been a lot better, honestly. You know, Scooby-Doo movie made Scrappy Doo the villain. They could have done something like that with this. It would have been funny. There's also really bad product placement here. Like, look at those Pepsi cans. You sure want to drink Pepsi now? Huh? You want some Pepsi, all you people in 2004? Huh? But no, we get Bald Dude, who hates his brother and hates the fact that his face is melting. Apparently later he says, I hate lasagna. And just like we couldn't tell he's a villain until he said that. That makes him evil. Oh, apparently John has taken Garfield to Chuck E. Cheese. Why would he be bringing his cat to Chuck E. Cheese? What was he doing there? That's what I want to know. Also, Garfield's like, yeah, I know where he's taking me. He's taking me to the vet because I'm smart. Remember, in the comic strip, much like a normal cat or pets, they don't like going to the vet. They always seem to know, and Garfield's one of them. And they could have had some gags of that, but no. Instead, Garfield's like, yeah, I know where I'm going. I'm going to see this bitch because John wants to fuck her. And in this version, unlike the comic strip version, instead of actually having comedy about that, where John fails to get the nurse to want to be with him because obviously he's a loser. It's not a nurse, veterinarian, all said that. They're like, no, I like you, and yeah, I like you too. That's it. That's how interesting their relationship is. Fucking bullshit. It's not. I mean, this is supposed to be a comedy, right? The romance part sucks, so they're so bland and underact the whole fucking movie. They have no fucking characters. There is no comedy because they basically removed any of that by basically saying, "Oh yeah, I actually like you." Okay, instead of him failing miserably at getting a date. But whatever. This nurse is gonna hold a bag of air in front of her that looks so realistic. This movie's fucking shit. Oh yeah, the people who made this movie didn't read a single bit of the Garfield comics because yeah, he likes going to the nurse, the veterinarian. I don't keep saying nurse, but it's as stupid as it sounds. Also, John gets a dog here. He doesn't steal it from Lyman's dead, cold hands. He just gets it randomly because he just randomly accepts it because he thinks it's a date or some bullshit like that. That's the joke. Is, oh yeah, I want to date you. Oh wait, I'm getting a dog. Oh yeah, this dog is Odie, if you couldn't tell. He looks so much like his comic book counterpart. I like how they saw this design and said, yeah, we'll make him just a generic dog, despite the fact that he looks super fucking weird in the comic strip. They made Garfield a live action, but Odie they didn't, and I don't really understand that. Honestly, I feel like this movie would have worked if everyone was live action animals, or if everyone was CGI. Well, maybe made later about better CGI technology, because at least it would have had a unique look. Just Garfield being CGI doesn't fucking work. And the fact that Odie is supposed to be just now it's just a regular dog, but not. So Garfield and Odie don't like each other, or at least Garfield doesn't like Odie because he's an asshole in this movie. And Odie just acts like a normal dog. Now I know in the comic strip he's also just a normal dog, but Garfield will hit him and abuse him. And in a cartoon form, it's like you don't care. Odie's a really ridiculous looking design, so it doesn't really matter. But here he's just a fucking dog, so it's like just seeing a CGI abomination hurt a dog. Like, I don't want to see that. It's fucking mean. But that's okay because Odie decides to kill Garfield here.
Oh no.
Hey, Odie! Help me, I can't get up.
But we get a scene where they dance to the Black Eyed Peas. That is the most 2000s thing ever. A CGI live action cartoon character movie dancing to the Black Eyed Peas. It's awful. Why is Garfield dancing? Does he ever dance in the comic? I don't think so. He's a lazy fuck. Why would he be dancing? What the fuck? Also, keep in mind, this dog staying on its hind legs is supposed to be one of the most impressive things a dog can do. I bet you know that dogs can do that. It's amazing, isn't it? Well, right now it doesn't seem that amazing because we got a CGI fat fucking dancing cat shaking his ass. There's also this scene where Garfield becomes Donald Trump. I guess that explains a whole lot. It turns out Garfield was Trump all along. That's why the country went to shit during those years. So yeah, they decide to go to a dog show, I guess. I don't know. And not to put Odie in there, just to go to it. And Garfield's like, John left me. I'm crying. I'm going to go sneak on the car or some bullshit like that.
Go on ahead. I'll catch up with you. It's probably just a mild concussion or a skull fracture. Maybe I'll get a CAT scan. A CAT scan!
I'm going to need a CAT scan after watching this piece of shit. So Garfield, for some reason, thinks it's a good idea to sneak in there because I guess he's jealous of Odie or some bullshit like that. But I don't think Garfield in the comic strip will actually really give a shit that much. And all of a sudden, dogs get really excited when they see a fat cat. Even though they're supposed to be highly trained dogs, but no, they immediately get loose, and their owners don't know how to hold on to their leash, even though they train their dogs, and the guy gets mad or something. Yeah, you didn't know that highly trained dogs chase after cats all the time, and their owners don't know how to hold on to their leash? Isn't that funny? Oh, and then Odie goes out for some reason and does a dance. And for some reason, this is really impressive. I mean, it's okay, but I don't know, I've seen way better stuff at dog shows. Have these people actually seen dog shows? It's not that impressive.
This is amazing!
Also, apparently, this is newsworthy. Love this picture of a newspaper. I don't know why this footage is so bad. Oh well. Even though this awful footage I found online is awful, it still doesn't hide the fact that Garfield's CGI looks like shit. And while Odie was doing his amazing dance, Garfield decided it'd be a good idea to go up a woman's ass. But uh-oh, the dogs surround him. This is probably the least intimidating shot in the world. These dogs don't look like they even want to eat him. They're just kind of standing there casually, like, yeah, what's our next move, Commander? Oh, we're looking to the left here? Oh, okay. Maybe it's their right, I don't know. Uh-oh, the dog's dancing! Oh my god, it's amazing! So Garfield's jealous, and he sings a song, apparently, to showcase this. Yes, Garfield sings. I wish I was making that up.
From dawn to dusk, my meals would come.
And if you couldn't tell, it's fucking awful. You see, Garfield got kicked out of the house because he hit a ball, and he got mad. He hits a random ball that apparently causes the whole house to fall down, which is supposed to be funny, but it's really just stupid. Like, I don't even understand how this even happens. Like, what? How the curtains knocked down the bowling ball? Why is there a bowling ball? Like, what the that's not even... what's even going on here? This is not funny, it's stupid. And Garfield dies here, so that's one good thing that happens.
Odie! Help me, I can't get up.
So John thinks it's a good idea to leave his pet out front of his house for some reason. Great pet owner, if you couldn't tell. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Also, shouldn't he blame his bad setup for why everything fell down? Because Garfield barely did jack shit to make it fall down. Like, Garfield's in a lot of shitty things in the movie, but the thing he gets kicked out of the house for makes no fucking sense. John's just a shit owner. That's all there is to say about him. Fuck him. Garfield also decides to be an asshole. See, Odie came outside just to comfort Garfield, who's sleeping out by himself. Garfield's like, fuck you, I'm going back in immediately. I'm not even joking.
You came out here to be with me. I'm touched. And you must be touched in the head. You got the dog, bring the cat, daddy, yeah.
Also, Odie just immediately runs away. Wow, really realistic. Just a dog running in the middle of the street. Yeah, I'm sure dogs just randomly run when they see a guy in a hot dog cart drive by. That's how he gets distracted, by the way. It makes a whole lot of sense. So the evil guy takes the dog for his act because he needs a dog, and he's going to use a shot collar later on the dog because I don't know. It's as... Why am I even describing the villain's plan? It makes no sense. It's not funny. It's not interesting. Why would they make this a villain? I don't get it. Like, I don't... Imagine, like, I got no analogies for it. Why would they make the villain of Garfield movie a newscaster who wants to use a dog to do a trick for him? I don't get it. Everyone says Garfield's a piece of shit, which he is. He's like, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. I was just trying to get rid of him, even though he didn't do anything to me, because I'm an asshole. And who the fuck... Like, I don't know. What do I even care? Also, he's on the TV, because just a dog and Lederhosen bouncing up and down is entertainment worthy, apparently. And Garfield's like, well, I like Odie now. I'm going to save him, even though I don't like him. I'm like, I don't... This movie does a really bad job of making a connection with anything. It's just like, oh, what movies like this happen, they go away, but now the character likes it. It's like trying to copy Toy Story, but failing miserably at it. We also get a very blatant Wendy's ad right on the TV. Wow. I love the product placement. Oh, in case you couldn't tell, the villain's evil. Even though Odie does his trick on the TV, they're going to use a shock collar that looks ridiculous because, you know, that makes sense. Huh? All of a sudden, this is an adventure movie, by the way. Garfield's going to try to save Odie or some bullshit like that, even though he's a fat cat who can barely get out the door, but now their dick's a nap or something, and he just goes out and does it. Like, huh? Garfield's either fucking lazy or he's fucking has energy to do a dance-off. I don't get it. It can't be either one or the other. It has to be one. You can't have him be a lazy fat fuck or a dancing acrobatic cat that can jump 5 miles. It doesn't work that way. Also, he's scared of rats because he's a little bitch. And also, these rats are horribly CGI'd if you couldn't tell. I would talk about the rest of the movie, but there really is nothing else to say about this fucking movie. It's just like, oh, we gotta run to save the character or some bullshit, and, you know, we gotta go to the train, and Garfield's gotta stop a train or something and stop the guy who hates lasagna, so you know he's evil.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. what will you be having today? Salmon, steak, or lasagna?
Steak. I hate lasagna.
As you couldn't tell, the guy's evil because he hates lasagna, and Garfield likes lasagna, so, you know, evil. Like, what was the even point of that line? In context, it makes no sense. He's given 3 options of what to eat. He just says steak. He doesn't even have to say he hates lasagna. He just randomly says, why do you offer me lasagna? I hate lasagna. What's the point? It just says, like, he's just a jack... Like, okay, he's trying to make a dog, like, get electrocuted on TV because he's a jackass. Or it throws his pets that he has into the shelter because he doesn't need them anymore. That doesn't make the character evil enough. Apparently him hating lasagna, that's what tells us that he's evil. So Garfield saves Odie, but uh-oh, the guy is knocking over suitcases and they gotta run away. But no, this one is too big for them to jump over or something, even though it looks incredibly small. Remember when Garfield jumped 50,000 feet in the beginning of the movie, like right here? Like, you forgot about that? Look at that fucking jump! Like, if you can jump that high, how come you not jump over a fucking suitcase? But the guy gets trapped by all these dogs and animals that they're like, fuck you, we're gonna rip you to shreds. And, you know, I guess I'd be scared too. Unfortunately, there's no scene of him getting ripped to shreds, even though I wish there was. But yeah, he dies here. Bye-bye. See you later. So that's the end of the movie. Garfield is friends with Odie. Just kidding, he still hates him for some reason because he's an asshole. Keep in mind, Odie in this universe does nothing to Garfield. It actually helps him out multiple times, but whatever. In the comic strip, Odie is kind of a nuisance because he's kind of gets in the way and is very annoying. Here, he doesn't do anything that's evil. Garfield's just a complete jackass because fuck him. Fuck Garfield. He can go to fucking cat hell. Oh yeah, he fucking dances because of course he does. Even though there's no reason for a dance party ending, Garfield just dances by himself, shaking his ass and singing badly because, you know, it's a kid's movie.
What are you? Oh, that's so good.
I want to die. I need a CAT scan after watching this garbage movie. A CAT scan! Garfield the movie is... It's bad. Kyle from 2007, I don't know why you were excited about getting this movie on DVD. I saw it on TV or something like that. I don't know if I saw it in theaters, but I thought, Garfield, I love Garfield, and I even had a book called Garfield at the Movies, and it had screenshots from this movie, and I thought, wow, this would be a really cool movie. It's not. I don't know why I was even that excited about Garfield the movie. I got a Nintendo DS that Christmas, and I was excited about Garfield the movie on DVD. Why? Sometimes you will never understand what you think about stuff as a kid. Most stuff I liked as a kid, I still like to this day. Stuff like The Incredibles, you could see in the pajamas, still my favorite movie. I love Pixar stuff, I love Shrek stuff, I love Sonic, I love Nintendo stuff. One thing I don't really love that much anymore, even though I'm nostalgic for it, is Garfield. Garfield is just an franchise, but anything that was good about the comic strip is basically non-existent in the movie. It's a bad adaptation, but at the same time, it's funny how bad the CGI is. So halfway through the movie, it starts from being a really stupidly dumb movie to a really stupidly boring movie. And there's nothing worse than a boring, generic movie. Awful, awful movie. I don't know what they were thinking. There's a sequel, and I think I'm reviewing that next, so don't be surprised to see the next day Garfield, A Tale of Two Kitties showing up, because I want to rewatch these awful movies. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye. See you later.